Hello guys and welcome back to another video. So today I'm going through language paper 2 question 5, one of the hardest questions on the language 2. This is all about persuasive writing. If you watch to the end, I'm going to show you how to get full marks. It's not that hard, but there are just a few mistakes that students tend to make. So listen to this and I've got you. So firstly, what is the question? We kind of need to know that. If not, we can't answer it. So you're going to write a letter, article, speech, essay in which you argue for or against something. So you're expected to express a clear point of view using a wide range of persuasive techniques. So that is what we want. We have a very clear point of view. And when I say clear point of view, we want to be either for or against the statement. It must be clear from your response if you are for or against it. Don't sit on the fence. Marks, it's 40 marks. It's 24 marks for the content and organisation, so i.e. how well you write, and 16 for technical accuracy, i.e. SPAG, spelling, punctuation and grammar. Time to spend is 40 to 45 minutes plus reading time, so kind of around that time. And in terms of some really important things for this is looking at persuasive techniques. This is persuasive writing, so we're there to persuade, so you must ensure you include persuasive techniques so you can get the top marks. So the first one we're going to look at is a rhetorical question. So what it is a question that doesn't require an answer, but makes the audience reflect or agree with your point of view. So it's like if your mum and dad said to you, do you really think that's acceptable? They don't want you to go, yeah, I do. Well, first, if you say that, you might be in trouble, but it's not meant to have an answer, right? And if you give an answer, they might be pretty annoyed. So a high-level example of this would be, if we wouldn't let animals suffer like this, why are we still turning a blind eye to the human suffering on our own streets? I'm not just answering a boring question. I want to make it feel impactful, emotional, and really emphasize the point. Now, with rhetorical questions, I'm going to put a little asterisk. Please don't use about 10,000 of these, because I've seen it a lot year on year. Students love a rhetorical question. They put about 10 in their response, maximum 2, no more than 2. Another technique is repetition and rule of 3. So what this is repeating keywords or ideas, often in threes, to emphasize a point and make it more memorable. So normally threes, they say humans remember things in threes, and we can do that to really emphasize a point and make it really memorable. So here's a high-level example. The policy is cruel, careless, and completely out of touch with reality. That's a rule of 3. Cruel would be 1, careless is 2, and completely out of touch with reality is 3. You can see it emphasizes my point. I can give 3 different ideas in that. Really, really good technique. But what you want to make sure, guys, is you do pre-learn these techniques. You want to pre-learn these techniques, have a good structure with sentence starters that you can put it in, because you can't revise for persuasive writing in the same way you can with creative writing, where, you can pre-learn your creative writing and literally just adapt it. With this, you want to pre-learn a structure with your persuasive techniques. So say, for example, I go onto language paper 2 and then we go on to persuasive writing. If I go into this video, it will give me absolutely everything I need in half an hour of the structures, the persuasive techniques, literally everything in one video. And also a really important thing you can learn how to do for persuasive writing is learning actually how to write a plan. And that is the most important thing you can do. So we go through how you can write a plan to consistently get yourself a great die. And the last technique we look at is direct address. So what this is literally directly speaking to a reader or audience, saying you, we, us, to involve them in your argument. We want to make them feel compelled and involved. And imagine if someone's directly speaking to you, you're going to be more persuaded. So a high-level example of this would be like, you have the power to change this. And if we act now, we can make a difference together. You can say you, direct address, we, you're including them with you. So let's go through the top mistakes that students make. Now, by knowing the top mistakes, you can avoid them, and I'm going to show you how to actually do them well as well. So these are the top 3 mistakes I've seen year on year. These are from examiners' reports. I've spoken to lots of examiners, so here they are. Number 1 is not thinking about who the audience is. I actually can't tell you how often this happens, and it's such an easy way to get marks because it's literally in the mark scheme. So a low-level example would be, people need to care about stuff. Not great, is it? This is vague, it's casual, the tone doesn't match the task. If, example, if the letter is to an MP or article for a school magazine, it doesn't tell me who they're talking to. It should be really clear when I read through your response. If I haven't looked at the question, I should be able to know who your audience is by the tone that you're using. Are you formal? Are you informal? And also the way that you're talking about certain topics. So how to fix this? You want to adapt the tone, so formal, informal, vocabulary, like how sophisticated it is, and content to suit the audience and form. When I say content, it's like, what kind of things would you talk about if you're talking to a teenager versus if you're talking to an adult? If you're talking to a teenager, you might talk about things like TikTok or school or exams. If you're talking to adults, you might talk about work or taxes or their kids' education. So think about picking topics that would be relevant to your audience. The way you would talk to your friends is not the same way you talk to your parents about things. So you would adapt your tone to just do the same you're writing. So it's formal if it's needed or direct to younger readers. Think about what topics or things the audience would care about. So younger generation, TikTok, social media, school. Old generation, environment, future generation, and kids. So a high-level example would be, Dear Councillor Morris, as a concerned student at your local school, I feel compelled to speak out against the proposed budget cuts. So you can see it's very clear who I'm addressing. It's clear that the thing I'll be talking about is relevant to the person if it's a counsellor. So that shows I'm directly addressing my audience. And throughout that as well, it'll be very clear. Talk about things your audience would be interested in that would persuade them. Easy way to think about your audience. Mistake number 2 is not staying focused on the topic. Now, this sounds simple, but it is done so badly all the time, and I'm going to show you how to easily fix it. So a low-level example would be, I think phones are good. Also, teachers give too much homework, and the uniform is annoying. So why it's wrong is the writer jumping between unrelated ideas with no clear line of argument. So we're not actually focused on what the topic is, what the statement is. We want to have a very clear line of argument. We want to be very clearly for or against the statement, but I want to have a very clear focus on what part of the statement is and expand upon that. So how to fix it? Plan before writing and stick closely to the question. Each paragraph should develop one key idea that supports your argument. So for example, if I was just sticking to one thing in this, you can see that the first one says, I think phones are good, teachers give too much homework, and uniform is annoying. I'm just going to stay super focused on phones and really expand on that. So maybe I have one paragraph on phones, one paragraph on teachers giving too much homework, and one paragraph on uniform is annoying. But in each of my paragraphs on phones are good, I'm going to give loads of different reasons why phones are good. Think about you want to try and expand on maybe 2 or 3 different reasons why phones are good, and give me an example. So mobile phones, when used responsibly, are powerful learning tools that enhance independence and research skills, especially when classrooms are under-resourced. Really good. I've really got into it. I've given a point and I've really expanded into it. And then I do the same for teachers. I do the same for uniform. You want to expand and stay focused rather than giving all your points at once. And then mistake number 3 is did not organize or develop ideas clearly. So a low-level example of this would be, phones are good, also they help, people should use them, but not always. Anyway, some schools ban them. Now that's better than the last example, right? Because it's staying a bit more focused, it's staying just on phones. But this still isn't developed enough. We need to really develop our ideas. So there's no clear structure or progression of ideas. You want to think about like one idea should go on to the next, should go on to the next, should go on to the next. And the writing feels a bit chaotic and repetitive. It's kind of like they're just listing out things rather than developing. It's almost like one thing you should say, it should build onto the next thing, which builds onto the next thing. Almost like a little sequence. So how to fix it? You want to just plan before you write. Use paragraphs to clearly introduce a point, develop it with reasoning or evidence, then link it to your overall argument. Using connectives like furthermore, however, in contrast. So kind of when you want to give your point, you want to give your reasoning or your evidence, and then you want to link it back to the argument. Are you for or against the thing? So for example, mobile phones, when used responsibly, enhance learning by providing instant access to resources. So you can see that I've introduced my point, I'm saying they're responsible, I'm developing it with reasoning, saying that it provides instant access, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to link it back, so I'm going to continue on actually. They support independent study and bridge gaps in access, so you can see there, I've given further reasoning, now I'm going to link it back to my overall argument. Banning them entirely ignores their academic potential. So you can see there at the beginning, I've addressed it, then I've given my reasons, then I've linked it back to my line of argument. And that is a super easy way to develop them. So we want to make sure that we're addressing our audience, we're developing our ideas further, and we're really giving multiple examples. And guys, I promise you, if you do that, you'll be absolutely sorted for persuasive writing. If you did enjoy this, make sure to send it to a friend, help them out too. We don't want anyone failing around here.